year gave us an opportunity to work with our elders in residence to do something really special.
To be able to apply our concept to this type of setting is extraordinary.
These collaborations that ECU put together are quite different to what a normal commission would be, to show that there's different mediums that can come together and be very effective.
We here at Edith Cowan University, and specifically at Kurunkurr always give careful consideration to whatever is the year's national NAIDOC theme. This year, 2016, the national NAIDOC theme is Songlines. It's about journey paths.
The Nomad Two World concept was an instrumental part of this project because it allowed us to be able to use our elders and the NAIDOC theme and really bring out the storylines and the cultural and the spiritual aspects to this artwork and this project.
Each of the three elders in residence, Dr. Noel Nannup, Mrs. Oriel Green and Mrs. Lera Bennell, bring not only cultural knowledge but also community connection in the work they do with us, as well as providing cultural guidance. All three is a storyteller in their own right.
The works are specific to each of the campuses, so every campus has an elder associated with the campus. There are people for whom the community and the institution have an enormous amount of respect, and getting them to be the subjects of these artworks was really a way of honouring their esteemed position in the university and in the wider community. Russell James is an artist photographer who has an international reputation, and he's largely known as a fashion photographer but also for the Nomad Two Worlds project.
Nomad Two Worlds was born out of a desire to find some vehicle for reconciliation. Russell was born in Perth, and growing up he experienced a lot of conflict between non-Aboriginal culture and Aboriginal culture.
I was living in New York, but I just had this thing bugging me from growing up in Derby area. My dad was a cop. Okay. So my only perspective was this conflict and being taught fear. Yeah. And yet when I was away, I had more of an open mind. I was like, I saw things. It was so obvious when you saw the wrong thing. Yeah. It wasn't until the year 99, 2000, I'd been living away for so long, that I was like, I have to try and reconcile my own past. And I didn't have a clue. I just started first taking photographs, not even necessarily of anything around Indigenous culture. I just took photographs in a way that I could explain it. We're in this period of conflict. Will this conflict now, with this collision of whether it's modern technology with ancient culture, what does it result in? So eventually I got to the year 2008. The apology had happened, which I think was great. And I used that as the impetus to go out country with a Wamajari mate and travel with his family. And started to photograph things of cultural significance to him and to his family, which really was the eye-opener for me, because instead of me looking and considering what I saw beautiful, like up in some of that harsher country, we'd drive for hours out to desert. So I photographed that, which wouldn't be my natural inclination to. And then I said, there's a story there, would you like to tell the story? We blew those up into canvases, and then he and other artists started to tell story.
A new medium was born. It was the merging of these two worlds, creating a new, beautiful, artistic expression.
So that was the language that we developed, never intended to replace, substitute or imitate true Indigenous art. What it's meant to be is to talk about collaboration.
I think one of the most important things about collaborating is simply that, having two in-tune artistic perspectives in a room, bouncing off ideas and their insights and perspectives on how they see an image, not only through their own eyes but through their cultural eyes as well. Once you have a joining of spirituality and culture and artistic views all aiming to achieve one thing, it's amazing.
It's been so interesting to see how every artist approaches the work differently.
I think it's really nice bringing different people together. Comparing to my own art practice, it's just more excitement working with different people. It's a transferring of what you're painting to complement and not overshadow or become a secondary part to it. You've got to match it and balance it up. That's the challenge, is getting that equal balance and respect to what the image is, to what your contribution on the canvas would be.
We selected artists that we knew had some kind of experience in the past or some kind of knowledge of Russell's work methods. So they were going to be able to slot into the position with relative ease.
Each subject was photographed at a place that was special to them and had some meaning, and we were able to talk about that on the locations. And then Russell was able to photograph them, understanding the significance, the meaning behind each of these locations. I work very closely with Russell on the editing process. We go through the photographs, we choose our favorite photographs, and that process is very simple. I think it's an emotional connection, and to me it's very much about the eyes. If you can feel something, if you can connect to who that person is. The selects were then printed and shown to the elders. They were each given 4 selects to choose from. Then it was really about which images they connected with.
These two I see every day when I look in the mirror. That was the reason that I chose them. The area where I was at Star Swamp, it's quiet, you can hear the birds in the background, and sometimes when there's lots of water there are the turtles, the long-necked one. I can just sit in the quietness. It's lovely.
I've chosen these 2 pictures. It just took me back in time to a place where my family were, my grandparents, my mum and dad and all the family. It just took me back to that time just to know that we were all there together as a family. Brought back those beautiful memories.
These were the 2 that I liked the most. I think they really do tell a story that epitomises my connection to that piece of land, and I just love the way that they were able to achieve that by taking those photos. It was really rewarding for me to be able to sit on the songline and knowing that that was the place added to it even more and made it super special.
Those large-scale photographs are then transferred to canvases, and our chosen artists do paintings over the top of those.
Each artist will apply their approach. They will try and tell more of the story, make the story more complex.
I get to know the subject, and by getting to know the subject you understand where they were born, the season they were born in, what animals were in season, what trees were flourishing. That is the background I get out of my subjects, and I get all these traditional Aboriginal symbols together and I place them on canvas, and it could be genuinely theirs, their story.
I have a lot of passion just listening to a lot of our old elders, just to listen to them and let them tell their story.
We've met with the artists, and they are now looking at those 2 selects that were made by the elders, and they are now choosing the one that they connect the most with.
When I looked at the images, you can see the expressions in the faces, and you can almost see them thinking. And I think in Noel's it's quite deep, and there's a lot of movement in Noel's photo. It's in his expression, and I believe that it'll be good to see what Noel was thinking about at the time of that photo and to tap into those sorts of images. And I think it'll be a good conversation, and to me it'll be a good outcome. I know Oriel as a person. I worked with her, and I thought it's something that we have in common. We know each other, and she likes my artwork and stuff, so it's another challenge for me just to put my artwork around Oriel's face and body, and I think what I put on there, I think she's really going to enjoy.
I think the subject here is an extremely beautiful photo to begin with, and there's so much mystery in this photo that I find very attractive for me, because it makes me want to learn a little bit more about this person and makes me want to understand her history, her time.
Each line, everything on each person's face or body tells a story about who they are and just represents their beauty that much deeper and more profoundly.
It was really important for us to maintain the integrity of the Nomad Two Worlds concept. We really wanted to ensure that Russell was happy with what we were proposing, but also because the combination of our elders' stories, our artist interpretations and the photography through Russell really gave us a powerful platform to showcase this year's NAIDOC theme while centring on ECU's Indigenous art collection.
Nomad Two Worlds, it was like a springboard to realize that there's so many cultures in the world, there's so much reconciliation that needs to happen, that wants to happen. So the reconciliation through art is what really has evolved through Nomad Two Worlds.
I think it is very important as a Noongar person to show our culture.
Each of our elders, together with The respective artists who have been engaged with this commission have really brought to the fore the national theme while paying respect to the role of elders in the telling of story and the regeneration of songlines.
It's always a good journey for any Aboriginal person to want to learn a little bit more about their own culture, and if we can bring a new medium such as photography and use that as a bridge to bring not only Aboriginal people over to learning more about Aboriginal art, but also non-Indigenous people, and bringing some form of platform that we can both share a place where we can not only enjoy art but enjoy each other's cultures.